Hello and welcome back to my garden. As you can see, this grapevine is getting a little bit out of control. It needs tidying up and pruning back, so we'll go through that today. We're also going to be having a look at the side of the entrance here, where I'm going to be planting some new pots in the side of the garden. There are some nice grapes coming on here, but this does need trimming back to allow them to grow. Now we're also going to be popping down to the greenhouse, and we're going to have a look at the bamboo again, because that's growing well out of control. However, one of the things that will be happening in this show, you'll hear that on bits of the filming the microphone quality is rather poor. That I do apologise, but I've invested in some new microphones now, and hopefully that's been overcome. So lots I'd like to cover with you today, so without any further ado, may I say welcome to August in a Year Gardening. Well, I'm just tidying down the grapevine on the front here, some of the overgrowing sections, taking them out. Where we've got grapes growing, just clear it along by 1, 2 leaves, leave the grapes behind. There's nice grapes on there, we'll leave that. We'll take this little section off the side. And I've got a nice section coming along here with some more grapes on it there, but then we don't need this section growing up the top there. So we can take that out and generally just bring it back into a nice shape so that it still forms a nice entranceway to the front door. But again, we can clear this section out. There's nothing growing on there. We want the energy to go into the fruit rather than creating more leaves. I'll carry on doing this, and then I've got to clear this bit of hedge up behind me as well, so that it generally just brings back the aesthetic of the front. But it looks like we've got some really nice grapes coming on here, and that's going to be something to look forward to later in the year. Now, a great source of additional nitrates to put in with our pots for growing particularly vegetables, but some of our other plants as well, are coffee grounds. And I realised I've been throwing away quite a lot of useful products. So these are my coffee pods. And what I've been doing is I've just been taking a knife and gently cutting around the working parts of the pod. That's so, just cut a circle around here, then a circle around the bottom. Then I can lift the silver foil cover off of the coffee, pop that to one side, gives me access to the coffee grounds, which I can then just add to a pot, and I can use those in the garden. Just bring the coffee grounds out. The great thing is then I've got a plastic container which I can then rinse out and just add to my normal recycling. So I've done a little bit here, and I'm probably good enough there for doing one of my pots along the side here where I've been growing the courgettes. The courgettes have been suffering. They've not grown very, very well. So hopefully this is going to help to make those look a lot better. Well, now I'm going to be preparing some new troughs to go along the side of the summer house, which I'm going to grow a mixture of vegetables and flowers in. Now, I've already pre-prepared the bottom of the troughs by drilling some holes through the bottom for drainage, and they're going to go along the side here. Now, the frame here has got a nice timber border, so my intention is to screw through these into the timber so that they don't get knocked off or blown off by the wind that it comes through. So I'm just going to get those sorted out in there, and we're going to have 4 of these eventually running along the side, but we'll just do 2 to start with. Now, in order to fix these into position, I'm just going to drill straight down through the pot, a little pilot hole into the timber underneath, and then without moving the pot, I can then put in a screwdriver bit change the setting on the screwdriver, and then place a screw down through that hole that we put, just down to there. Hold that in place. We don't want to over tighten it and damage the bottom of the planter, and then I'll do the same with the second hole to make sure we're nicely in place. Second hole in there, undo that, back into screwdriver mode, and we'll pop a screw in there. And that's now nicely in position. We're going to do the same with this one, and then we'll prepare those for the plants. The next job is to allow for some drainage, and for that I use some of the polystyrene. Just cut that up into smaller pieces and run that along the bottom inside the pots, just to make sure that we don't have our plants sitting in water. Just cut that. Lovely. Put that in there. One more piece in this one. Lovely. And then we can top that up with compost. Now finally, before I put the plants in here, I'm just going to give this compost a good water, get the soil conditioning right, and then I'm also going to water the plants that are going to go in here and get them ready for transplanting, which will be my next job. Well, the first plants I'm going to be putting into this first trough are some butternut squash, which have been given to me by Grace from the allotment. So I'll just see what these are like here. Got a little bit of weed in the top, which I'd like to take out before planting those. So we'll just get rid of that. A little bit of grass on the top here. So if I just clear that away. Lovely. Pop that down there for a minute. Then we're going to make a reasonable size hole to get this into. Lovely jubbly. That should just about take that inside. I need just to break the base of that up a little bit. Bring that down into the surface. That's better. And then we'll bring compost around that, level that to the surface. And once these are in nicely, we will then give that another good water. Make that firm down. There's one there. I think we'll get just one more in this end here. And if I take this one here, again there's a little bit of weed just growing on the top, so we'll take that off the top. Let's get rid of that and plant want that one in here. And then I'll top the compost off. A little bit more in there. Give us a good water. Tidy up some of the damaged leaves on here. That looks like it's had a bit of a slug attack on that one. But then, that's okay. Lovely, get a bit more compost in that. Okay, so that's the compost filled up, levelled out, and it's watered. We'll leave those for a couple of days, then I'll just tidy up the dying leaves on there, but I don't want to be giving them too much of a shock with the transplanting just done. We'll leave that for a couple of days and then give them a tidy. Nice, on to the next one in a minute. Well, it's quite amazing the speed that this grows at. It's only a few weeks since we cut it down, but all I'm going to be doing is running through with my secateurs and taking out the new sections that are growing. There's quite a lot to be done here, but it has to be done. But generally all I'm doing is taking out these new growths and bringing it back down to the same level as the hedge that I trimmed it to last month. And then I'll just keep going through here, and I'll probably have to do this every week for the next couple of weeks, and we will get it down. Well, that's looking better, and we'll keep on top of that. It's got to be growing every week, I think, at the moment, but we'll keep on top of it and see how it goes. Now, the discoloration on these courgettes, the yellowing of the leaves and things, shows a lack of nitrogen. So I've got these coffee grounds that I prepared earlier, and I'm just going to add some to the surface here before watering it in. And hopefully this is going to put enough feed into the ground that they're sitting in. Obviously, because they're in pots, they're not getting enough of the feed. I've tried some liquid seaweed. That's not been working, so I'll make sure that this goes on here. Enough around each plant. And hopefully this is going to add feed into that soil, and that'll make the plants more healthy. We'll put some into here as well, but as a control I won't put any into the third pot, and we'll see if these pick up over the next week or so. If they do, then I'll know what to do. Just carry on adding the coffee grounds to them. So that's that on there, and that could be a free source of nutrient to put on my plants. So I'll just get some water on those now. Well, bit of tidying up going on. Got to sort out where it's getting a bit overgrown down here, and going to carry on doing this, but that's going to be hopefully with a little bit of help, because our friend Grace from the allotment has said that her and her son and her daughter might come round and help me get back on top of the garden, which will be a joy. Our friends in Christ, they really are lovely, lovely people. So that brings me to the end of what I'm doing today. I'm a little bit worn out, so let's just bring the show to a close and sum up what we've done on this show. Well, that's about it for today's show then, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining me. Greatly appreciated. We've had a look at the grapevine and brought that back a little bit. We've planted a few new planters, and we've generally had a nice little look around the garden. I've not been able to get down to the greenhouse in this show because it's a long way down there and back. And in the heat we've had over the last few days, in the greenhouse is a little bit much for me. I've been able to get down and do a little bit of watering, But I can't spend much time in there at all, so maybe next time we'll go down there and see how the plants are doing. Generally, getting a little bit back on top of the garden. It's taking time, and with help, it's going to come back to where it was, hopefully, and maybe even improve. But I haven't got a real problem with it. The shape of the garden is beautiful. It's just it's a bit messy at the moment, so we need to just generally tidy it up a little bit. But I know that we're going to get on top of that. Now, as you may have noticed from the titles at the start of the show, this is my 100th upload to YouTube, and it's only through your support and your encouragement that has kept this going. And so I do thank you for 4 years of support. Yeah, moving over 4 years, it's incredible, isn't it? But there we are. That's it for today. And I've got a lot of things planned going forward, and hopefully my health is going to stay with me and we can achieve the targets that I've got in hand, and with the help of other people, that's going to be crucial. But we can get it done, and we can bring this garden up to the beauty that I want to. And hopefully with the new sound system and the microphone system that I've now got multiple microphones that can fix into the cameras, so we can actually have other people talking rather than you listening to me in the boring old way that I am. So anyway, thank you very much. I will leave you in my normal way, so thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay well, be kind to each other, and with a small glass of Cabernet Sauvignon, happy gardening. Cheers.